Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Tuesday, August the 27th. And if we take a look at our Bloomberg app and our market section and look at the futures, we're going to see that all three US indices are slightly in the red, not by any significant amount. These have been bopping back and forth, swapping between green and red for the better part of the morning. So we'll see. We're still an hour and 7 minutes away from the open. We'll see what these open at. But it looks like it's going to be maybe a slow start to the day. And I think the one positive to come out of yesterday, which was an off day, and today, which may be a slow and off day, is there's just a lot of pent up interest and maybe anxiety, but certainly a lot of pent-up energy around what's going to happen tomorrow at end of market with the release of the Nvidia numbers. So everyone is waiting and sitting back, waiting for these numbers to come in and determine the direction the market's going to take. And obviously, if Nvidia provides a strong earnings and future forecast print, then the market's going to take off. And I think it's really going to rebound from where it dove down a few Mondays ago with the unraveling of the Japanese yen trade. So it'll be a very, very interesting aftermarket tomorrow. And my belief is that Nvidia is going to have a strong earnings and revenue print and a very strong future forecast. And there may be a little bit of nitpicking that causes that stock to dip a little bit on initial release. But once we get to the actual earnings call, it'll be nothing but accelerated growth. To back that up and give you a little bit of insight is going into an earnings report, when you see a stock start to pull back before earnings, it's really providing for the ability for that stock to really pop on a good earnings number. Whereas if you have a run up ahead of that earnings number, there's not usually, there can be, but oftentimes there can be a pullback, even though the number and the earnings report and print is strong, because there's been that pre-earnings run up, the stock can actually fall off. And we've seen this a couple times this year. JP Morgan's been an example. There have been a couple of others, and you've had great results, but then the stock has dropped the day after at the open, after the earnings release. So here, I think we're setting ourselves up, and this happened in the last quarter as well with Nvidia. There was a lot of nervousness and caution in the market going into the print, and then it blew everyone away, exceeded expectations, and it skyrocketed. So I think that's what we're setting ourselves up for in this one as well. Obviously, I can't predict the future, but all signs and most, if not all, analysts indicate that this is going to be a strong print. And they do a ton of research around this. So I have to believe if everyone's saying it's going to be a strong print, that it's highly likely it's going to be a strong print. It's kind of like going into Jackson Hole this year, knowing that Jerome Powell was going to talk about the first set of rate cuts. We knew that. There was some anxiety, some caution going in, but then he talked about that. So I'm not going to say it's with certainty, but I think we're as close as we can get in terms of the odds. So let's flip over to the Yahoo Finance app. And if we take a look here at what's going on at the top of the screen, you can see that crude's pulled back a little bit. We still have the conflict going on in the Middle East. We still have the conflict in the Ukraine and Russia. There's been some shutdowns of oil production in Libya. So things are moving in the direction of being positive for crude. So I'm a little surprised that the futures are off, but they did have a big day yesterday. I think they're going to come back. The VIX was up a little yesterday. So this is the volatility index 30 days out. And what this typically suggests is that there's caution. As it goes up, there's more caution and reluctance in the market. But I think we're going to start to see this come down as we get those earnings from Nvidia out after the market close tomorrow. If we look through the list, we've got some interesting things going on in our list this week. Obviously, Lululemon reports this week. If we click on Lulu, it's out in 2 days. I'm not on the positive side or the long side of Lululemon. I think it's considered, in my mind, to be one of the mid-tier discretionary items that consumers probably have too much of at this point. They don't need more. There's no real demand right now. I think around Christmas season, they're going to see a significant pickup and they're going to have a very strong last fourth quarter to the calendar year, but I don't believe that this quarter is going to knock it out of the park. So I'm staying away, waiting for this to drop further, and probably looking to buy into this in the October, November timeframe and watch the run up into the US Thanksgiving and into Christmas, and then probably position to sell that in that same time period or just after the holidays. We've got Walmart, which gained some ground yesterday. I think you might see a slow move up in this. I'm waiting for a pullback in Walmart. I'm not getting into this yet. I'm going to probably pull the trigger on Walmart in the low 70s, like 70, 71, if it drops down to that when we have an overall pullback, which I expect we'll have at some point between now and the end of the year. I'm staying away from Home Depot at this point. I don't believe that segment's turned around yet. I do think Nike is a good buy going into the holidays, and it's not an unattractive price right now. I mean, it's been down into the 70s. I don't think it's going to get back there, but I do think this is going to be a $9,500 stock by January or February of 2025. The anomaly in this group, and it's now reset itself, was Humana. If we take a look at Humana, just minutes ago, this stock, which closed at 353 yesterday, was up $27. And now it has come back to be up $2.50. So that was one of those pre-market moves that if you had have had your Humana shares listed for $25 or $27 above the close, you may have actually been able to sell them pre-market at a pretty significant profit, exit, and then get back in when the market opens at, say, 353, 355. So that's where, again, going back to my earlier video on pre and post market profits, this is where you can take advantage of those kind of swings. That was a pretty significant swing of $27 in Humana in the morning session here. So it has reset, releveled itself, but those are things that you can do after market hours in a day plus extended market limit order. You can put your shares that you hold in to sell at a price that's significantly higher than the close and just see if that triggers over the course of the aftermarket sessions and until the market opens again the next day. We've got JB Hunt. JB Hunt was off a little bit yesterday. Again, not a believer in JB Hunt. I believe this stock is going to be a $150 stock in the next couple of months. CNR resolved its strike, so they popped a little bit yesterday. I still expect this to dip. I don't expect earnings to be great on this one in the coming quarter. And then we roll down into oil. And for the most part yesterday, oil had a great day. There was really only one exception of a stock that was a couple of stocks, but really one that was in the red the most yesterday. And that was Valero. Valero started off pretty in good shape. It wasn't spiking by any means, but it was up a little bit. And then it just dove. And so I think there's room for Valero to make a recovery today, even if crude is slightly off. It also looks that the majority of the other oil stocks are looking to be in the green today. And so that's going to bode well for oil today. I think oil is still a strong play going forward, and there's enough volatility there that there's opportunities to make a profit. Now we get down into tech, and there's a couple of tech companies reporting this week. One of them is CrowdStrike. I would be scary and leery of this one due to the global outage it caused earlier this quarter. I don't believe they're going to be able to close the deals that they had in their pipeline. Based on that outage, I think there's going to be some significant reluctance, or having a bit of a sales background myself, you're going to have to deeply discount those to get those deals closed. And that's not going to help from a revenue or profitability perspective in the short term. Long term, totally different story. I'm a big believer in this company in the long term, but I think it has further to go down. So I would be waiting for a drop. I think it's going to drop down to the 220, 230 range after it announces this week. And I'd be looking to possibly buy some at that point. CRM is another one that reports this week. It had a positive day yesterday when most of the techs were in the red. It's off pre-market, but I do believe with earnings tomorrow, they're going to be overshadowed for sure by Nvidia earnings. But I think this stock is set to pop and get up into the 275, 280, maybe even 290 range if it has a strong earnings print, which I do believe it will have based on what that company's been doing. Scrolling down further and just looking at some others in the space, I think that with Nvidia coming out tomorrow after market, ARM will jump at the same time, and I would be looking to acquire that today or tomorrow, depending on the direction it takes. But I'm going to be watching that one and see kind of where it bottoms out at, and then look to get in as it starts to reverse that bottom turn and makes the turn and starts heading back up into the green or getting into the positive. Scrolling down further, we've got Workday. Workday had some great results. If this pulls back, I would be buying Workday. I think they're going to have another fabulous quarter 3 months out. So that's a strong purchase for a buy and hold. Lam Research. Lam Research is a company that has been hit hard recently, but they are well positioned if semiconductor interest and growth continues. And I can't see that not happening. We've got some of the largest, most profitable companies in the world. Facebook is one, and then a large retailer, Walmart, taking advantage of AI and really integrating AI to drive their revenues and earnings in an upward direction. And Lam Research is going to be a big part of this in the semiconductor space. We also get numbers out this week from Dell and HP. I believe HP, I could be wrong on that one, but for Dell for sure. And Dell, I believe, is going to be another one that hits it out of the park. If we take a look at Dell Technologies, we can see that, yeah, 2 days we get earnings out from Dell. So again, overshadowed by the likes of Nvidia, but this is a stock that I believe is going to do very well. It's nowhere near its year-to-date highs. It's off of those, and it's going to ride the wave of the refresh cycle that is going to start in 2025 if it hasn't really already started in 2024. And this stock will benefit, as will the likes of Broadcom and AMD and TSM, all of the other semis. Nvidia looks like it's going to open up a little lower today. Google had a good day yesterday. It was in one of the ones in the positive. We've also got Adobe reporting soon, not really soon. I mean, it's second week of September on September 12th. But the earnings are coming up, and I do expect that Adobe has turned the corner and they're going to be positive as well. So this stock has been slowly ramping up. If we look at the 6 month, you can see that it's been making some positive moves upwards. And I think that trend is going to continue as it gets up into the 650s by the end of the year. TSM in the 169s is an absolute steal. In my opinion, I think this stock is going to ratchet up maybe 5% on earnings of Nvidia. It also had good earnings earlier this quarter and is well positioned. Going down to finance, our favorite stock in finance these days is SoFi, and SoFi has been a bit of a rocket ship lately, coming back from the high $5 range to almost $8 here. We're at $7.67. So this is an interesting one on any kind of a pullback. I would look at picking up more SoFi. I just absolutely think that's a fabulous name to have in your portfolio. JPM is doing well. It's close to 220. It had a good day yesterday. It's in the green this morning. We look at Morgan Stanley up in the 102 range. I think it's got room to get up to the 106 range, not today specifically, but as we move into those September rate cuts, I think everything in finance is going to be at a higher level than it is today as we get into September. So looking at buying these on a pullback and riding them up would be my recommendation. Goldman, another favorite. I know it's more expensive than most at 50, call it 508 right now, but this is a stock that should get to the 550s, 560s by the end of the year, and it is doing a great job in terms of the business being run and how it's positioned for growth. And with interest rate cuts, it's only going to help this move forward. I think Schwab is also a strong buy right now at under 65. I think this is a $75 stock by the end of the year, and it's attractively priced. And then we go down to our events calendar. So just to touch upon what's coming out again tomorrow on the 28th. After market, we have Nvidia, which strong buy in my opinion, and CRM or Salesforce, another strong buy. After hours on the 28th tomorrow, we also have CrowdStrike, which is a strong sell and then buy, in my opinion, buy on the dip, and Affirm Holdings. So Affirm Holdings is a company that allows you to finance your consumer purchases over a period of time. And although there is growing demand for that, there's also a lot of risk in that model about people defaulting on payments. And although they do make money from the interest charges behind those, I'm more concerned about the defaults in this area, um, and looking at what's happened with some of the credit card companies, Visa in particular. I am a little leery of a firm holding. So that, in my mind, is a sell and a wait and see. So that's where we are today. Good luck in your trades. Please subscribe to the channel if you're liking these videos. Check out some of my shorts as well. I'm trying to make some shorts every day, and hopefully you're getting a chance to take a look at those and you're enjoying them.